This KFAN podcast is sponsored by Builders and Remodelers, exclusive Twin Cities provider of Elements Windows. Get the highest quality windows at unmatchable value. Visit buildersandremodelers.com for more details.
Looks like the Peter Bursich dream has died for today's visit, maybe somewhere down the road. We'll be at training camp tomorrow.
He did text me moments ago.
What was his explanation?
He didn't give one except, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
You know what happened? He lost himself. I bet you're right. He lost himself in Baldy's eyes and then started talking to a couple other people.
Yep.
And then the time caught up with him, and he said, fine, that's it. So that's great. We'll remember that.
So my response was, I expect this from Lieber. Which he didn't appreciate.
You didn't like that comparison?
But the truth cannot be controversial.
Yeah, that's what they say. Well, better luck next time. Plenty of Vikings chatter for sure tomorrow when we will be broadcasting live from the exclusive Fan Radio Network perch. We usually get a player, and I'm sure we'll get an ink-stained red. Well, we are getting Alec Lewis.
Alec
tomorrow,
Lewis.
Correct? That's already confirmed.
Yes, he's fired up.
For tomorrow's program as well. Are you old enough to remember the original Naked Gun series?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, not great.
Yeah.
It was a little before my time, but all my uncles and everybody, all the adults in my life loved it.
I will describe myself as okay on the series. I mean, I watched the movies like most people at the time, thought they had some yucks, thought a lot of it was kind of silly. It was never like religious for me, the whole concept.
Local angle, right? Pat Proft was big.
That's true.
In those, wasn't he?
That's right.
Yeah.
Now, what makes this intriguing to me now, though, now that we're getting the Naked Gun series is getting a reset. In fact, it's out already. Is what it allegedly represents, and I guess this falls under the classification of I don't know that I even spend anywhere near as much time on movies in terms of mass release as I used to, which probably is true of a lot of people, which is maybe why, movie theaters aren't as full as they once were. But there's larger implications here to apparently the Naked Gun reboot with Liam Neeson in the Nielsen role being successful. Wall Street Journal, before a recent advanced screening of the Naked Gun on the Paramount Pictures lot, producer Seth MacFarlane offered the audience some introductory guidance. For those of you who don't remember, there used to be these movies called comedies, the Family Guy creator said, and it's been so long since one came out that Paramount asked me to explain to you that it's supposed to be funny.
Genius.
End quote. So the decline, apparently, of the big screen comedy has been going on for quite some time. Once upon a time, and how do we classify that kind of a motion picture? Well, they use as examples, they talk about primary purpose being to make adults and teenagers laugh as much as possible in 90 minutes. They throw out Caddyshack. They throw out There's Something About Mary. They throw out anything with Will Ferrell, although I would say, with sometimes better results than others. Just 10 years ago, major Hollywood studios released 18 such films. 18. By this writer's subjective count, and they were a thriving business. 8 of them grossed more than $100 million. That included Trainwreck with Amy Schumer.
Yeah.
Sisters with Tina Fey and Amy Poehler, and McFarlane's Ted 2, which I don't think I ever saw. I'm not sure I ever saw Ted 1.
Never saw either of them.
Yeah. Flash forward to 2024, last year.
LeBron was great in Trainwreck, by the way. LeBron, brilliant.
Was that where he introduced Taco Tuesday?
No.
Oh, that was later. Okay.
A little bit later, maybe.
Flash forward to 2024, and Hollywood Studios released 0 live-action comedies. 0. This week's reboot of The Naked Gun is just the second one in theaters this year, after one called One of Them Days that came out in January. Are you familiar with One of Them Days?
I've missed it.
Okay. The few hugely successful comedies this decade have been what's described as genre hybrids, like the superhero sequel Deadpool and Wolverine, which I've seen at least 5 times, and the toy adaptation Barbie. Whether because of digital competition or Hollywood's timidity, we are losing the experience of laughing communally in a movie theater. The original 3 Naked Gun films were released between 1988 and 94. Leslie Nielsen, of course, was the star. He would play the inept cop Frank Drebin. This writer says he was 12 when Naked Gun 2.5 came out. And I still remember laughing uproariously at a 2-minute sequence in which O.J. Simpson is dragged underneath one vehicle after another across the streets of L.A. The new Naked Gun stars Liam Neeson as Drebin's son. And like its predecessors, the movie sacrifices character and plot logic for nonstop jokes, which range from satirical to absurd to middle school bathroom level. And one of the funniest bits, he writes, directly addresses the franchise's awkward history with O.J. They quote the director of Bridesmaids and The Heat, Paul Feig. Is it pronounced Feig or Feig? Do you know?
Do not.
Here's what he says. I'm really just praying that Naked Gun does well. For the same reason, he wants to see a rebirth in these films that we used to take for granted. Some of them funnier than others. That's all subjective.
Of course.
But we're just don't even come out anymore. And I like, where did I see the quote regarding the McFarlane decision, which I think, again, I haven't seen it yet, but strikes me as genius. Neeson in this role. He says McFarlane says the idea for the movie came when McFarlane worked with Neeson on a single scene in Ted 2. I didn't even know Neeson was in Ted 2. The Irish actor, of course, is best known for action movies like Taken.
Yep, I've seen all of those.
Batman Begins. But McFarlane was impressed with his ability to get laughs by playing a comedy scene with total sincerity. And, of course, it was that same deadly serious approach that made Nielsen so funny amid the absurd surroundings in Naked Gun and Airplane. I remember thinking this is the only actor alive who might be able to pull off a reboot of The Naked Gun, because he has that Robert Mitchum, Gregory Peck gravitas. And we can argue about that, but I get it. But I think his point's good. And that's why guys like this, how they make their money. They see stuff that the rest of us don't, right? They envision, you know what? This guy, the perfect choice, maybe the only choice left alive that you could put in the role, play the son of the Leslie Nielsen character in the original, and you got something. That's why these guys make the big dough. Like McFarlane's pretty successful, is he not?
He is.
Extremely successful.
He can pretty much do whatever he wants.
And I think he's right. Because you got to have a guy who seems to be serious all the time, who then, even as he's doing comedy, is doing it seriously in a way that makes everybody laugh, right? And so I'm intrigued enough to I don't know if I'm intrigued enough to go to a movie theater, but I am intrigued enough to see the film as someone who didn't really love the ones originally, but I like him so much. And it's doing very well from a box office standpoint early. And it would be nice if it would bring back, what do you want to call them, silly comedies, or whatever the case may be?
80s, 90s, 2000s, the early 10s and teens.
That wouldn't be the worst, would it?
It was fun. Now, the whole movie industry has changed, obviously, in how people consume and go or don't go to movie theaters anymore. Yes. But it was amazing to be in a theater for one of those stupid movies and watch it with a couple of your buddies or your family and then hundreds of other people. It was tremendous.
Judd, is it pronounced Apatow or Apatow? How do you pronounce
Judd Apatow.
Apatow.
Who's directed a million of these.
Yeah, he's a million of these. Yep. He says there haven't been a lot of great comedies made to judge if people will go or not go. His credits include, of course, Anchorman, Knocked Up, 40-Year-Old Virgin. Since the pandemic, he's made just one comedy that was released in theaters. With so few comedies getting made, nobody has emerged to replace Apatow or his generation of actors like Seth Rogen, Kevin Hart, Melissa McCarthy. When was the last time a popular stand-up or Saturday Night Live cast member headlined a hit movie? You get into a doom loop, Apatow says, because people aren't getting their shots to prove that they can be bankable comedy stars. Feig's last 2 films were released straight to streaming by Amazon, but test audiences and critics watched them in theaters. The audiences go nuts. Online, the feedback more mixed because you're watching it in a vacuum. You're being denied the experience of something that was engineered for a group to watch together. And that's the larger issue that we've talked about before. We all know it's become too easy to stay in your living room on the big flat screens and watch stuff at home. Right?
Enjoyed Happy Gilmore 2
cheaper,
multiple times.
The
watching
whole bit, exactly. And you could have people around you that you're watching with. Realistically, though, it's not going to be 75 people. It's not going to be maybe a couple hundred people, whatever you might have in a movie theater. And we're back to how much of a loss is it that the shared experience that many of us grew up with as being automatic. Well, yeah, you go to a movie. If you want to see a movie, you go to the theater. Yeah, there's movies on TV, but I mean, they're old and we want to go to a theater. You want that big screen feel, and you do want to share it with other people. Hopefully they won't, spend the whole deal playing with their ice in their mouth. Hopefully they won't chomp on their popcorn, whatever the case may be, stuff that annoys me way too easily. Hopefully they won't try to sit right next to you and drool on your chair. But there's something still different about big screen, whether it's a comedy or even an epic kind of adventure film, whatever.
Yep.
That seems lost, though. I don't know, because I do think it's a loss.
I do, too.
But I don't do anything about it. I can't say, well, as a result, I'm going back into the theater. I really haven't. But I still do lament what once upon a time was, well, yeah, that's what you do. If you're going to go see a movie, you go to the theater, and you may not love, it might be too crowded, but you actually wanted some of the energy.
Yes, you did.
From a crowd, especially if it's a comedy, especially if it's an adventure film, where you're laughing together, you're cringing together, horror movie, you're screaming together, whatever the case may be. And it's not just people you know. It's a bunch of people that you don't.
There was nothing like the buzz of a weekend night early in a good film, popular films run.
That's it.
When you had tickets to the 720 at Centennial Lakes Edina Theater 8, and you couldn't wait to get there.
Interesting.
I think that's a bowling alley now, that theater.
That's probably
Pinstripes.
True. Well, we're on the site of one of my favorite theaters in this town.
Yeah. Showplace Icon?
Showplace, yeah. This was back in the day.
Oh, the Cooper.
This was the Cooper.
Yeah.
And there were, I want to say it was just like 2 huge screens. Might have been 3. And it was all near here. It was all in the same location.
Yep. You can see
First
pictures
few years
of
I was
it.
in town. I mean, this was the place to go. It was tremendous. Felt like a real auditorium. You know what I'm saying?
I do.
Those days, of course, are long gone, too. Dan Minnesota has a very interesting observation worth getting into regarding this controversy. And not surprisingly, because he is comedy, Larry Mondello guy wants to weigh in as well. So let's get a break. Don't forget, speaking of comedy, Pat Kessler is going to join us on location, not in studio, at about 4:30, and he'll give us the reasons then. 763 guy writes, the first comedy I remember watching in a movie theater was The Ghost of Mr. Chicken. That'll make the old-timers in our audience chuckle. The kids will go, what? It was a Don Knotts film. The Ghost and Mr. Chicken, kind of all based around Halloween. Good callback, though, from 763 guy. Larry Mondello guy writes, my dream would be a reboot of maybe my favorite comedy ever, The Jerk. And Steve Martin is still available and still great. It was not one of my favorite Steve Martin films.
I don't know if
a lot of people loved it. Yeah, it's one of those I think it's one of those movies you're either going to love or you're going to hate. But yeah, Martin could reboot it as well. Dan Minnesota, my 2 cents, pun intended. Can't have this conversation without addressing Hollywood's bankable fascination with sequels, reboots, and remakes, and not taking risks on new stories, specifically comedies. He's 100% right. The comeback, I'm sure, from Hollywood would be, you know how we keep making those films over and over again? Another superhero film, another sequel to another sequel. They sell.
People go.
They go. And I wish they didn't, because I think it does inhibit the possibility of either other things coming back or fresher stories coming forward. But It's I hate to say it. Our politics are no different. We complain constantly about we need fresh blood, but we continually are fascinated by certain names. Clinton, Bush, right? Trump. Go down the list. It's the same. It feels like it's the same names over and over that have name recognition that have been built up over a period of time. But I think there's no question for some of us, because my tolerance for superhero films is pretty limited. But again, I'm not probably the target audience at this point, so it doesn't matter. But I can't. And part of it is I almost reach a point where there's so many of them, I go, I don't care how good the story is. I'm checking out because there's just not another one. No. Not another version of Superman. No. And yet it keeps happening. I mean, we know what Hollywood's about. They're about making money.
Yeah. And that's changed how they've made money.
That's also true. Yeah.
They can't or they don't take the same risks or have the same
correct
options to do the movies that they used to.
They do, one could argue, but it's just different. It's in streaming services.
Yeah.
You can get any number. You can get a lot more variety via, obviously Netflix, Amazon, Apple TV Plus, all of them. 37-year-old here. I absolutely miss being in the theaters for these movies. Austin Powers, Old School, Anchorman, etc. were epic with a bunch of people laughing together. I think one of the reasons for the decline of the pure comedy genre is because of the rise of superhero movies, which are undoubtedly the most popular genre of the 2010s, incorporating many elements of comedy films, some of which, like the Spider-Man and Thor series, were even directed by comedy directors like John Watts and Taika Waititi. Do you know that name? I'm probably mispronouncing it. People were getting their fill of laugh out loud moments from those movies instead. Well, there's some truth to that too. If they're done well, there can be decent comedy there, but it would be nice if I think that all this is a good reason to root for this film. I don't think it's number one at the box office this year, but or the last couple of weeks, but I think it's doing well. Although I don't know how that works. Is if you're not at the top, does that mean you're going to go nothing but down? I'm not sure. You lose nothing with a comedy at home. Not worth theater money, where action is better on the big screen. I would disagree. Now again, the finances are part of this deal now. We get that, but I think you do lose something with comedy at home. It doesn't mean you can't enjoy it at home.
Right.
But I think you do lose something. In terms of the shared reaction, just like, I think you can enjoy an action film at home too. In all honesty, in terms of outward reaction in a theater, you're going to be able to pick up more on that reaction via a comedy than an action film, aren't you?
Yes.
Because there's not that many people go, ooh, ah. But they are laughing if they think it's funny, correct?
Uproariously.
Yes.
Slapping your buddy next to you. It's the best.
It is the best, I think. Saw there's something about Mary at the movie theater at the Mall of Hysteria. Saw it with a buddy. Have never been in a theater with more people laughing their rear ends off. So much fun. That's Edina grad, former St. Louis Park guy. Couple people, Joe from Omaha, about Blazing Saddles, Young Frankenstein. That goes further back. But yes, funny is funny. So I'm not saying you can't laugh at home, but I think there is a bit of a difference. I saw Naked Gun yesterday, the reboot. Enjoyed it just as much. Lots of chuckles. Few belly-gusting guffaws. Well worth the $5 Tuesday matinee price with free popcorn. There's a good example of what I obviously don't know. So is that true? So matinees, maybe in this case, specific day of the week, there's such a thing as a Tuesday $5 matinee film?
Could be.
I didn't even know those existed anymore. Yeah. I thought even if you went in the middle of the day, that'll be $20, sir.
Right.
Or $18 or whatever the case may be. I didn't realize any of those kinds of specials existed anymore.
That seems like a really good deal.
I wonder if there was a roof on the theater. Was it, so you were...
The popcorn was from the night before.
Well...
Or the weekend before.
I wonder where this theater is. $5 Tuesday matinee price, and the popcorn is free. Well, if it's free, probably people don't care if it's a little bit stale from the night before.
Yes, you got to take what you can get.
Do you remember the last time you went to a theater to see a film? I mean, has it been like years? Has it been months? Has it been weeks?
It's been years. I want to say it was coming out of COVID to see one of the Paw Patrol movies with the kids. I don't remember going to like an adult movie in the theater when the last one was.
When you went, even then, the other thing that's changed dramatically is once upon a time, theater food for a movie was soft drinks, popcorn, maybe a wiener.
Right.
Now it's pizza.
Mm-hmm.
It's burgers.
I got surf and turf. I think I got salmon and a steak, medium rare.
I'm not surprised.
By David Fema.
It's pretzel bites, layered in either cheese sauce or garlic, whatever you want on it.
Yep.
I don't think I've ever gotten any of those things. I think I haven't gone to a theater much recently. I think I've still stuck to popcorn. I may have gotten... I don't even think I've done pizza. That's another thing you get now, right? Flatbread pizza.
Yes, you can. Flatbread, which is a key distinction. Not just pizza.
Yeah.
Flatbreads. It's fancier.
We're a family of 6. It can get expensive to go to the movies, $80 just for tickets. Anything else on top of that is fun, but doesn't happen often. We understand the expense part. That's undeniable. We're just talking about what the loss is, that there is a loss that one, I think, can lament a little bit, and we have before. This is just a little different context about I had not even realized that big screen comedies were as rare as they've become, and that's why a lot of people in the industry are paying attention to the Naked Gun reboot to see if it might sort of reopen the door. Marcus Theaters has the Tuesday deals.
Okay.
I don't know where Marcus Theaters are. Do you?
They're around, yeah.
Yeah,
we've got a few.
Marcus Theaters. Part of the problem is how quickly the movies go from theater to streaming. The Naked Gun reboot will probably be streaming on Paramount Plus in 3 weeks. It's one thing if it's a big blockbuster that's visually stunning to see on a huge screen, but if it's a comedy, you can get for $9 a month on a streaming service. People will just wait to watch at home, which is unfortunate. Yeah, The Gap. Once upon a time, The Gap was huge, right? And so if you wanted to see the movie, you had to go to the theater. I'm not going to wait 6 months.
Exactly right.
I got to see it now. It's 6 days or 6 minutes.
And there was a big FOMO involved. You had to go see it because people would talk about it.
Correct. Somebody mentioned, I hope I can find it here because I know we got to get to Kessler here fairly soon. And it was a really good example of, they were talking about, I think, didn't we just hit the 50-year anniversary on the release of the original Jaws?
Yes.
And he's talking about remembering seeing that film in the theater. And he gives a great example. There's a moment in that film, forget the sharks. There's a moment in that film where they're doing a night expedition. Scheider and the crew, Dreyfuss, etc. They're doing a night because they're trying to find. I want to say they're trying to either find the shark or they're trying to find a body or whatever. They end up. There was a sunken boat, and they end up. There's an incredibly powerful scene in which out of nowhere, Dreyfuss, I think, is in his frogman equipment in the dark with one little light, looking around the hull of the boat, the damage from the boat, and all out of nowhere, a dead body's head kind of pops out in his direction. And I vividly remember that moment. I vividly remember seeing it in a movie theater, and the place everybody went, holy bleep.
Yes.
It was a scare moment. That's the kind of thing that you can get at home, but it's never going to be as dramatic as you're going, this whole theater, we're all reacting the exact same way. Like a genuine jump scare that even in a film where there's going to be some of those you ain't ready for at all, that's movies at their best in a movie theater.
The original Jurassic Park.
That's true, too. Yes, absolutely.
Which we hadn't seen. With the special sound, the DTS super secret sound that we had never heard before.
You're looking at Hi-Fi. You think I wasn't excited about that?
You knew DTS. Mall of America Theater. Scared out of my mind at like 12 years old watching Jurassic Park.
Where's the goat? That's the key. Remember that? The little girl says, where's the goat?
I still wake up.
And then a moment later, a piece of the goat lands on the sunroof.
Spoiler alert.
Oh, you're right. I gave it away. I'm so sorry. Has Kessler ever seen Jaws in the movie theater? We'll find out.
Terrific film. Wonderful.
We'll also find out why and how he almost got into a fight at a bar in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. That's next.
I wish the American media would take a great look at the views of the people in Congress and find out, are they pro-America or anti-America?
Pat Kessler. Because people have got to know.
Where's Michael Buffer when we need him?
Well, I'm not a crook.
I can't trust Obama. He's an Arab.
Pat Kessler.
Tear down this wall.
I did nothing wrong at the Minneapolis airport.
Senator, you're no Jack Kennedy.
Pat Kessler.
And now, to help Dan break down all the tough questions in politics, it's our own
Pat Kessler.
Political Wonk.
I feel like a supermodel, except like times 10.
It's Channel 4's
Pat Kessler.
with Dan Barrero on The Fan.
What kind of legacy do I leave? I just did the best job I could.
God, that's more pretentious every time I hear it. Kessler via the Connecticut Water Systems hotline.
Okay, that's hilarious.
Do you remember seeing in the movie theater the original Jaws motion picture?
I do. I was freaked out for months, maybe years. Yeah, great movie.
Okay, so you did see it in a theater. So I'm assuming you remember the theater. The night I went, the scariest the entire crowd got was the jump scare moment when it's the scene where it's at night and Dreyfus is in his, he's got the gear on, he's underwater, checking out. They're trying to find Ben Gardner, what's left of him. And so they're checking around. He's checking around a boat. And all of a sudden, he comes around a corner, and Ben Gardner's head shows up in the hole of the boat. Do you remember that moment? Because that was the moment that scared everybody.
Yeah, and you could see everybody in the theater just pushing back in their chair.
Yes.
And there were muffled cries and screams everywhere. That was a freaky movie, man. That scared the hell out of me.
Yeah, very much so.
But mine also was you see the young girl swimming on the surface, and the camera goes below, and there's that shark, man, right there. Ooh. That scared me. Yeah. Oh God.
Yeah, and there's
it's something.
There's just a little. Her head's above the water, obviously. There's just a little jerk on her body, first sign that the shark has made contact with her body, and she is not going to survive it. All this is coming up out of nowhere because we were reading from a piece that is indicating that Hollywood is hoping, and of course Jaws was not a comedy, had some funny moments, but not a comedy, but that the reboot of the Naked Gun series, in this case with Liam Neeson in the key role, might reintroduce the concept at, movie theaters, the big action, funny comedy, which has basically gone away the last several years. It no longer exists, and there's hope that it could, actually reboot that whole concept. That sort of led from there to the question of shared laughs in a movie theater is still better than shared laughs with 2 or 3 of your buddies or significant others at home, or same with, action films. It's fine at home. We get it. You can have fun enjoying it, but there's still nothing like that shared experience in a theater. And for a lot of people, it's just gone. They just don't go.
Well, a lot of this is my fault and your fault. I can't remember the last time I was actually inside a movie theater. Yeah. It's been a few years.
Me too.
And so I totally get that. But I love this concept of Naked Gun, which I loved, and Liam Neeson, whom I also love. And is there still a local connection? Pat Proft, the great screenwriter, was a Minnesota guy who was working around all the first ones. So that is actually one of the few hopeful signs you've given me for this country, Dan Barrero.
Yeah.
that if we could all get together, why can't we all love each other once again?
Yeah, Sharks and Jets should be able to have the shared movie experience at the very least without having to go through their political bona fides at the door. That would be very, very
I like
nice.
that idea. Yeah. I really do like that idea. That's a good concept. Let's all laugh together.
Are you still in Greater Milwaukee?
I have just returned from Greater Chicago, and now I am in Greater Milwaukee.
Okay,
that's where I am.
So
I'm a good son. I'm a good boy, Dan.
Well, that's good.
I went to visit my mother, and just went to visit her. She's 101 years old.
101.
She was, yeah, and she was thrilled to see her favorite son. I'm just telling you.
So. My understanding is, and you, I think, have mentioned this via Twitter, that a couple of nights ago at a bar in Milwaukee, you almost ended up in a fist fight. So where was this?
Who would have thunk that?
What were the circumstances? And what the hell happened?
Well, you get in one bar fight, and that's all anybody wants to talk about.
Yes, that's true.
It's in my case several, which will be in my obit probably. I'm just minding my own business. That's what I'm saying. I'm a good boy. I'm just getting ready to go see my mother, who's living in outside Chicago, and in beautiful Milwaukee. I love this city, the Mill City. It's a great city, Dan. But my beautiful wife and I we had a wonderful dinner at a great restaurant. And for a nightcap, we just ended up at a place and sat next to a really friendly guy. And then it just went sideways from there.
When you say you sat next to him, one table over, you're all at the bar? I mean, how close was he?
Yeah, we're all at the bar, you know, and Freaky's sitting right next to me on the other side, engaged in a conversation with a couple of nice people. And I got a nice guy on my left. And who just says, "What? Isn't this a beautiful hotel?" Yeah, it is. It's a really nice hotel. I said, "I'm really lucky to be here. I got a great life." I pulled out the great life quote.
Sure, why wouldn't you?
What a great life! I said, "What a great country! Look at us. We're right here in this hotel. We clink our glasses. Even you know how this goes."
What were you drinking?
I mean, you've been there. Well, I was drinking a man's drink. That's all I'm going to tell you.
Well, I like a little more detail than that.
B-E-E-R-R-U-N, beer run.
So it wasn't beer. Was it like scotch and soda? I mean, what were you like? I mean,
I was having a man's drink. I was having a Hamm's.
Oh, a Hamm's. Okay,
Hamm's
you did
beer.
mean that. Okay, all right, fair enough.
That's it.
And was it your first or your second or your third?
Well, it was probably my second from after dinner. Dinner and then this one.
Okay.
What's he drinking? What a great country.
What's he drinking?
It's some tall glass with pink stuff in it and a straw.
Right. Okay. All right.
I was drinking the man's drink.
You were drinking the man's drink.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, well, it's you. That defines you. So you guys are
we clink glasses. Right? He's a nice guy.
Yeah.
I said, he says, I worked really hard to get here in this really nice place. I say, hey, me too. And he says, that's what this country is all about. I said, that's right. Clink the glasses.
Yeah.
He says, if we don't screw it up with all these transgenders.
Quiet.
And I'm like, what? And in the back of my head, I'm hearing ding, 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 ding. I'm hearing ding, ding, ding.
Yeah, right.
Warning, this is real time, man. This is real time. I say to him, what? What did you say? He said, transgenders. The country's getting screwed up by transgenders like Oprah Winfrey. Oprah's a man.
And you say now, have you dropped your glass by now, or how are you handling this?
No, I looked straight at him. I said, no, she's not. Come on. No, she's not. And I said, really? He said, yes, she is. So is Michelle Obama and Kamala.
No.
I said, come on, man. Now you're just effing with me. Now you're just effing with me. I'm serious. And then I'm hearing the ding, ding, ding.
Yes.
In the back of my head again.
Why didn't you just tell Freaky?
Jesus.
Well, let's go, Freaky. It's been a good night. Let's not. No, come on. We've reached
this is
a point.
all in a matter of seconds, man.
Okay.
You know, my life is flashing before my eyes.
Who else did he name? Any others?
Well, those are the three.
Okay.
And he said, and I said, you're just effing with me. He said, no. I said, I'm serious. You should do some research on this. That's when it's. And for me, I said, okay, I'm done. That's it. I said to him, okay, that's it. I'm done. I said, we're not going to talk about this. I'm not going down this road with you. I said to the guy, but I don't realize it, but he's getting really steamed.
He's riled.
I said, no. Yeah, no, we're not going to talk about this. I said, and I'm waving my arm is going up and down like a tomahawk chop where I'm creating a wall in between us.
Yes, you're building the wall.
I said, that's it, man.
Yeah.
I am. I'm building the wall.
Yeah.
And I put my hand up and give him the paw, and he's saying, "Oh, that's all you got? That's all you got, man?" It's like, holy crap!
Oh, this is so good.
And then and so I'm standing and I look over and my gal is just talking to these people.
So she doesn't know anything yet. She's got no clue that what's going on to her left. Correct?
No, but it's starting to get loud.
Yeah, right.
But then I got this smug know-it-all look as I normally do in a bar, and I said, okay, I suppose you're going to tell me next that the First Lady of France, Brigitte Macron, is also a man. And I give him the paw,
right?
And he's like, "You need to do better, man. You need to do better than that. That's all you got." Okay, that's all. And he stands up over me. That's all you got.
Is he in your space at this point?
He's like right on the edge. He's right on the boundary of the wall, like the imaginary wall I created.
Is he spitting while he's talking? Is one of those deals where even though he's not intending it, the saliva's flying onto your cheek?
Well, I don't see because I look in the bar, and the bartenders are beginning to circle, and he's standing up, and the bartenders are giving the eyebrow signal to security, and they're on the way, and
is anybody else noticing this by now?
Well, now my gal is.
She is. Okay,
like,
Freaky is like, oh, what the hell's happening here?
What's going on? What are you doing? And it's my fault, of course.
Of course.
Well,
you escalated
what did you do
it.
now?
You escalated it.
Yeah, what did you... Well, no, it's always my fault.
Yeah. Right.
What did you do now? What's going on here? And the guy slams his drink on as people are beginning to walk toward him. Slams his drink on, and he yells something. I don't even remember what it was because I'm looking at my gal. And he's storming away as the people in the bar, the bartenders and security are encroaching on the bar. And it's like, and Mim's saying, what? Freaky's like, what did you do? I said, he wants to fight me. She said, why does he want to fight? Because I won't say that Oprah's a man. And she's looking at me like,
are you out of your...
What?
Yeah.
Who are you? It's like, who are you? And at this point, I need support in my marriage at this point.
Naturally, yeah. Did he ever put his hands on you?
No, I created this imaginary wall.
Okay.
And he did not cross it. I'm serious. We were, probably 8 inches apart, face to face, but he never went closer than that.
Were you still seated and he standing, or were you both standing, or what?
Yep. No, he was seated over me.
Seated,
and then it started to get loud. When I was an idiot. I was taunting him with my gal Brigitte Macron.
You had to taunt him, didn't you? You had to escalate it. Did you ever think he actually was going to take a swing at you?
I do.
Yeah,
I absolutely do.
Yeah,
and he was getting upset. And have you? We're talking movies. Have you seen the trailers for this movie, Bob Odenkirk's movie called Nobody?
No.
The first one was a great movie. It's just a guy minding his own business.
Okay.
It's just a guy. Mm-hmm. And then he gets encroached upon, and he ends up being like this martial arts guy that I always imagined myself to be. And I'd be pummeled, of course, when I start a fight.
Yeah.
I'm 80 years old.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you got limitations at this point. Everybody's physical.
It's like, I'm on vacation. That's how I feel. So it's unbelievable. How does this happen?
Did he? So he left, as in left the establishment completely? Got the message?
I don't know. I mean, he left the bar area.
Okay.
And so
how long did you guys stay?
Getting up.
After that?
Well, we left pretty quickly after that. She says, "You know what? It's time to go." And she's pretty much, and so my head's on a swivel the whole way out. You never know what's going to happen.
No.
I mean, you've been there.
Yeah.
You've been there.
Yeah. Oh, man. That's. Yeah. Well, the mistake you
never
made
know what's gonna...
was the obvious. Was you
had to get the last word in.
Yeah. Well, beyond that, alcohol's involved. And you're not going to reason with that kind of guy. And even though you want to stand your ground and say, what the hell? Where are you from? Mars? What's going on here? You got to know the more you do that, the more he's going to say, you want a piece of me, Kessler? You want a piece of me? Because that's the next step.
Well, that's where it was absolutely headed when I said, now you're just effing with me, and he told me I needed to do my research. This is when I realized I had a reality check of myself. Now, we all hear in these uncivil times that we're in the middle of, and the chaos and the confusion and the anger, that what we need to do is reason with people and say, you know what? Yeah. Tell me about it. Why do you think that Oprah's a man? Where did you learn that? I realized about myself, because I've learned this about myself, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to sit there and try to reason with somebody.
Well, it wouldn't have mattered. Maybe it wouldn't have helped.
Well, maybe you,
no, it wouldn't have helped.
For all I know, I have not done my research.
No, you haven't. You haven't done your homework.
Maybe the guy's, maybe he's real. Maybe he's right about it. But all I know is that all of this is going to happen, and I'm sitting there with my gal, and where's this going to go?
Let me ask you this: the original Oprah Winfrey show began in what city? Chicago.
I'm going to say Chicago, but I'm not
it was
sure.
a local show in Chicago.
Yeah.
Can you prove that when the show began, Oprah Winfrey was a woman?
It's a really good point. Yeah. There are so many things we cannot prove.
Can't prove it.
And I will say this. If I had a cow, I will tell you my cow has 5 legs, but that doesn't make it true. You just can't say something's true. And P.S. Sidebar, Your Honor.
Yeah.
This is one of the great stories about WCCO television in Minneapolis. Back in the day when Oprah was a reporter at a local television station in South Carolina, she did a job interview at CCO, and they went, we need. It's not a good fit.
How about that?
And
I thought she was a man.
And the rest is history.
Is it possible?
But
Go ahead.
I'm a big Oprah supporter. As all these many years later, even in a Wisconsin bar, I'm an Oprah supporter.
Her honor. I hope the word gets to Oprah that you stood tall on her behalf. Maybe she'll invite you to the compound in Maui. Maybe that'd be kind of nice. Yeah.
And if Brigitte Macron finds out, all of these great women of this world. But apparently with this dude and with many others in this conspiracy theory, and in case you don't know, and some of our listeners may not know, this is a tremendous conspiracy theory that all of these prominent women are actually men. And it is a slur against transgenders and all of this stuff. And that is the thing right now. And as a matter of fact, Brigitte Macron is suing a conservative commentator for $50 million, Candace Owens, because they claim she's a man. But in this world, this topsy-turvy, crazy, mixed-up world, Dan, where people believe that all the women's are trying to be man's, I don't know where we're going.
So did security, was this a guy, did they recognize him like he was a regular at that bar? Did they give you any indication? It sounds like they were circling prepared. They could sense something was up, but you didn't get any kind of, they didn't have that kind of conversation.
No, they did sense something was up, and afterwards, the guys behind the bar said to me and my wife, we saw this developing, and we were on the way. Something like that. So they knew. Well, let me ask you this. So I'm not proud of myself, Well,
the question I wondered was okay, so now is this going to make it more or less likely that the next time you're at a watering hole and a drunken idiot loses his or her mind, that you're actually more likely to have a hair trigger reaction, or you feel like you learned your lesson enough to say, I'm not even going to come close to even engaging in any conversation. If I have to vacate, I'm going to vacate.
Well, if my gal has anything to say about it, so we're not going to engage.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, if I was alone, I don't know. I'm not talking about fighting with fists and stuff.
Right.
But I might let it play out, cast a line and see how far this goes. There's some stuff happening.
Well, but here's what I'm worried about. You're back in Milwaukee, correct?
Yes, sir.
I mean, per capita, I think they got more bars in the city of Milwaukee than any city in America. And every 15th of a mile, there's another bar. So I'm worried now
every half a block
that you're going to be looking for stuff. It's Kessler on the prowl. Just come on. You do want a piece of me? All right, this time I'm going to be ready for you. And I just want you to be careful because you are 80, and you might know what your limits are, but you might not know the limits of the chumbalone on the other side of the argument. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, my gal always tells me to imagine what the headline the next day is going to look like.
Yes.
And so the headline is going to be KFAN radio political wonk beaten and arrested. And then in the body of the story it will say Pat Kessler, 80 years old, and then at the end it'll say police are investigating whether alcohol is involved. Yeah, and that's what it's going to be.
Suckers.
But it's good advice. Always, kids, always think about what the headline's going to be tomorrow.
Yeah. I feel the person I feel really bad for is Freaky. Because
she's just trying to do her job.
She's trying to do her job.
Trip.
She's a big shot corporate. She's got all these. Now
her plus one's getting in bar fights.
She solved this market. Now she's trying to, take care of Milwaukee. And then she got to worry about you getting to barroom brawls.
Well, I am ashamed about that because everything you just said is 100% accurate. Because she's thinking great thoughts about big concepts and how to come up with solutions to problems, and I'm like drinking a Hamm's and ready to go Hellboy with another man about whether Oprah's a man's. So, I mean, when you're right, you're right. You're not wrong about this. I have to be on my better behavior. That's all I'm going to say.
As a nickname, one of our listeners asks, do you prefer Pugnacious Pat or Killer Kessler? Mm-hmm. Pugnacious Pat or Killer Kessler?
Well, it always comes right up to the fight, and it's only been pushing and shoving and fists only a few times in the last 20 years.
A few times.
It's only been a few times.
About a half a dozen.
So, let's do Pugnacious. Well, I was worried, so I told my daughter Meredith this morning that I was going to talk about this and that I was in a bar fight. And she says, "Oh no, you were in a bar fight in Wisconsin? Not again."
It's very well told. The story, the buildup was pretty considerable and I think you pretty much matched it. Although there is some disappointment regarding your knowledge of Minneapolis and Milwaukee, because 651 guy writes, the Mill City is Minneapolis, Milwaukee is the Cream City. Kessler is clearly not one of us.
Well, I checked with the Cream City. I did look this up, actually. And Mill City is one of them.
Oh.
The Cream City doesn't feel right to me.
Okay.
Am I wrong? Tell me I'm wrong.
I've heard it. I've heard that used for Milwaukee before, actually.
Yeah. So no, but I take 651 guy at your word, and clearly we have to. On many different levels, I need to do better, including I need to bring people with me to back me up.
That's what it may come to. Yeah, you might need security, some kind of a security goon with you. That's what it might come to.
I've got someone. I have a dear friend, Shar, who she will be my hell girl.
Oh, okay. Perfect.
And she's ready to do it wherever I go.
All right. Well, try to be safe. We're not going to bail you out, so keep that in mind. We're very late, so eventually, I assume we'll see you in studio next week. I hope.
Yeah, I have to take care of the sick, feed the poor, and go see elderly people like my mother. So that's what I'll be doing.
Did you tell your mom you got in a bar fight?
I didn't. She wouldn't be angry. She would be disappointed.
She would be.
That's the way they always kill you with that. That's the thing, right? It's not angry. Man. I'm disappointed in you. That's how it hurts, right?
The only thing I have to add, Dan, and for Pat, is just sit in a booth next time. Just try a booth.
You're not. Yeah, I mean, bellying up to the bar. Maybe I'm too old for that.
No, you're definitely too old for that. There's no question about that. All right, safe travels back. Say hi to Freaky, and we'll talk next week.
All right, sounds awesome. Thank you.
Is pugnacious Pat Kessler with a story that you really can't make up. You really cannot make it up. Here's the plan. We're guest-free, I believe, the rest of this show. More on the Pete Bursich mystery. That'll be resolved a little bit later. And Top 5 at 5 is yet to come. I'm assuming we'll cover, if we have to, the Twins, any Vikings-related news, links, whatever else, because I don't know the rest of it simply because now Guardsy's busy talking to Kessler again, who wants to apparently tell more of the story.